And we're back talking about food prices, why they keep going up, what's coming up, and then also what the government should be doing, if anything. With we're chatting with Dr. Sylvain Charlebois. He's one of the experts in Canada when it comes to following food prices and what's happening in our grocery stores. Dr. Charlebois, I want to talk about what you were discussing before the break in just a few moments, but first, let's pick up on sort of what's happening in the future. If you pull out your crystal ball, what do you think Canadians are going to see when they go into a grocery store over the next few months, maybe the next year or so?
Well, I actually think that that variety is going to be an issue. We are expecting fewer SKUs, so fewer products, fewer choices, just because carrying 20,000 different products is very costly. And we all know what's going on with wages. Wages are going up, so businesses are going to have to really manage very differently. The adoption of AI is going to play a critical role. So I do see fewer employees being paid more with fewer options for consumers. Now, on the execution, as consumers will probably benefit from that, our experience will be much better managed, especially as we exit the grocery store. But generally speaking, I actually do think that right now you're seeing the evolution of a different model, a more efficient model relying on AI automation, and the reduction of the number of employees is actually going to be critical. Right now, the metro strike in the GTA is really top of mind, not only for Metro but for all grocers around the country. They're watching that situation very closely, and if union workers do win and get more, grocers are going to be forced to adopt new approaches.
Hmm. And when you say new approaches, is that similar to what we've seen over the past decade, where more and more grocery stores have self-checkouts, those types of things?
That's right. So self-checkouts, we're likely going to see technologies where you just put things in your basket or cart, and everything is calculated, everything is billed um, in your bank account automatically. This is the idea of the smart cart, for example. Amazon Fresh has actually adopted a similar model. Those are the types of things that we are likely to see, dehumanizing the whole process, making sure that people can
Hmm.
actually go in and leave the grocery store as quickly as possible.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see how technology and AI affect grocery stores in the years ahead. What about with when it comes to shortages? Like you mentioned that we're going to see fewer
Yeah.
SKUs, fewer products available. Are there any in particular where you think that maybe people might want to stock up because the price might go up or because the product's simply going to be not offered?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, AI can be quite useful for that to eliminate or reduce risks of seeing shortages for anything. We don't really notice it as consumers, but the weather itself actually can have a huge impact on what we buy at the grocery store. If we actually have a very rainy summer, we're likely going to visit the meat counter less often. We're going to buy different kinds of beverages and things like that. With AI, you can predict what people are going to buy before they actually buy anything. You can predict when
Hmm.
people will turn into vegans before they know it themselves. So those are the things that I think grocers are thinking more about instead of dealing with issues they've been dealing with for decades.
And when it comes to prices, though, things may be going up. We've talked about the war in Ukraine and how that's affecting grain prices and everything that's made with grains, things like cereals, pasta. India's also been talking about restricting rice exports. Are are those two product examples where maybe we might want to fill up our shelves with a bit more because it could lead to we could might see higher prices in the near future?
India's rice export ban is interesting because you saw. So first of all, India is responsible for 40% of all global rice exports, so it's really an important player. But rice prices haven't really changed since the decision last week, which is interesting. It means that I think markets actually believe that rice will continue to move, and we're not expecting any shortages anytime soon. We
Hmm.
saw that with palm oil last year; prices skyrocketed. Uh, I think markets are much more rational now than last year, which is really something that is important for us to recognize.
Well, that's good news for those who like rice. We'll be back for with more in just a moment.